Welcome everybody to another live stream repair. We've got a relatively easy day for us here today. Just two HomePods that have showed up for repairs. The first one that we'll be taking a look here is actually one that we've already fixed and sent back. And unfortunately, as soon as they got it, they were saying that the base was dirty. I already took a quick look at this before I started the stream today, and it definitely looks like, or definitely sounds like a gasket somehow came loose. Not entirely sure how that happened, but you know, after fixing hundreds of these, we're bound to make some mistakes, or something happens during shipping, or who knows. So let's just crack this open. Actually, before we crack this open, I'll go ahead and show you guys what this sounds like, so you get an idea. Yeah, not the prettiest sound, so... And of course that crashes our camera, so let's pull that back up. The day Apple lets you multitask while using your camera will be the day that hell freezes over. Okay. So anyways, you heard how nasty that was. So we're gonna crack this back open real fast. Shouldn't take us too long to get this back open and find out where that's coming from. I do usually make an effort to do some amount of sound testing for each of my repairs. But, of course, you know, some days get busier than others, and sometimes people have them set up as part of a stereo pair, and you really don't want to have to factory reset it to add it to your account, to test the music on it for 5 seconds, just to factory reset it again, just to send it back to the customer so they can factory reset all their stuff and get them stereo paired again. It's just, I try to use my judgment as to when I do like sound testing for each of these pods. If it's feasible for me and easy for me, and it's not going to be too much of a hassle for the person who sent it in for me to just do a quick reset and sound test and then reset it again, I usually do it. But sometimes I just, I don't know, sometimes I either forget, or I may have tested it with one song and it sounds fine with that song, but something else that sounds absolutely horrible. Or I tested it and something may get knocked loose during shipping, which honestly I think is pretty unlikely. Usually when these things have issues after fixing them, it's a mistake that was made when putting them back together. And then it's a matter of finding the right test that will show you that any problems with your reassembly here. I do see the problem here. That's ironic. It's the exact same problem that last HomePod that we had send in with a really rattly bass ended up having. There's a nice gnarly dent in the subwoofer right here and right here, so it's keeping the subwoofer from sitting flush with its gasket underneath and causing a pretty nasty air leak here. Not sure how in the heck this could happen, because there's no way like, there's no way I wouldn't have caught that, right? Yeah, look at how bent that is. Not sure how well this will show up on the camera. Like right here. See that? Bent out of shape. And how does this happen? It's interesting that we just had another HomePod in for the same thing, with the same kind of damage on the subwoofer there. And, I'm gonna have to rewatch the repair that we did for Orlando when he first sent this in and see if I can notice the same kind of bend in their subwoofer, or if when we were putting this back together it was in good condition and it somehow got damaged in shipping on the way back to him. It was packed pretty dang well, so not too sure what to make of this, but will we be able to bend this back together or straighten it out? Let's get in the hammer. I'm just trying to go easy on it here. All right. We got that pretty well straightened out now. It's not perfect, but what matters is when we put this into our shell here, that this isn't bent so far down that it's lifting it up from the, it's pushing up against this plastic ring and not allowing the seal underneath. So, let's get this back together. See if that's our fix. subwoofer is all screwed back in, and we can tell because we can tell that we've bent this back enough, and it's not preventing the speaker from sitting flush because we are able to push down on each side here and see it still has a little bit of give left, meaning that the subwoofer is sitting nice and flush on its gasket that sits in between the subwoofer and the plastic ring beneath. So the fact that we can push this down on all sides means is that this outer metal part of the woofer isn't bent out of shape enough that it's preventing it from making a nice full contact to that in between the woofer and gasket there. So enough rambling, let's throw this back together and see if we've got it all squared away. I have a good feeling about this though. We did just the same thing to someone else's HomePod a few days ago. Albeit they admitted that theirs was dropped onto a concrete floor from pretty far up. Whereas this one, it's a complete mystery as to why and how this happened. With it leaking that bad, it wouldn't have passed any sound testing that I do on any of these, be it just a quick Siri voice check or, a full factory reset and bumping tunes through it. 99 times out of 100, I can crank the volume up and get Siri to complain about the Wi-Fi, and that'll tell me if there's any problems with any of the seals or what have you, without having to factory reset it, pair it to my phone, play music to it for 5 seconds just to see and hear that it sounds fine. But hard to say in this case. Was the Siri voice test not good enough and we missed it the first time around? Or did we do a full test on this thing and it got banged up in shipping? That is the question. Hey, what's up, Tony? You didn't miss much. We just took a hammer to the subwoofer, banged it back into shape again, and we're gonna see if that's the source of our dirty bass here. We plugged it in and powered it on and got some pretty wacky sounds that almost certainly sounds like there's a gasket not sealing properly, but we took it apart and found that the subwoofer had some pretty serious bendage to it. Not sure when that happened, if it had always been like that when they sent it in and we somehow missed it during our repairs and testing before sending it back the first time, or if we got it repaired, it tested fine, and then when we shipped it back to them, it was somehow damaged in transit. Looking at the box that they sent it in, no fault of their own, but the box itself was pretty banged up. And it had a lot of give in it, so it's possible, although I feel like it was packed sufficiently enough, and I would see this sort of damage more often, and not the only other time being somebody who dropped theirs onto a concrete floor. So, not quite sure what to make of why that woofer's, I'm not quite sure what to make of that, but, or why that somehow got bent up, but and it is unfortunate because well, I mean, first of all, now the person who sent it in has to wait twice as long to send it back to me, have me fix it and send it back to them again. But I've also, obviously I gotta pay for the shipping both ways because it's not right to make them pay for it. It's a mistake on our side or otherwise, but that's why we give you a warranty. If anything comes up, we'll cover everything that happens within the work that we've done to it. And if we fix your no power and DC offset and you have blinking volume buttons 5 months and 30 days from now, there's not much I can do for you there. But if any of our work failed, or if you have any issues in general, we'll have you send it in on our dime. I'll take a look, and if it's due to our workmanship, you won't pay for anything, and we'll fix it up and send it back to you. But if I do find that you were throwing your HomePod around, not treating it with the proper amount of respect, then I will charge you for the return shipping, and I might charge you for the repairs again too. But not for this guy. Not for him. They didn't get a working HomePod back yet. So, do we got him? Are we home free? Or will we need to crack this open again? Alright. That sounds more like it. Alright, and of course iOS can't multitask, so we gotta kill and reopen our camera again. Thank you, Apple. Thank you, Tim Cook. Alright. This one sounds nice and meaty again. So let's set it to the side. We're going to just do some, we'll set this up after the stream, pair it to our phone, play some music through it just to make sure that there's absolutely no problems with the bass on this before we send it back to them. God forbid we send it back to them and they have some other issues. Want to avoid that for them. Alright. And then our second HomePod here. No, we can't take their plastic off. That's not our plastic to take off. I'd really like to, but... Alright. Here's their pod. Smells like it was used in perhaps maybe the bathroom. I'm gonna guess this was in the bathroom. I may be wrong, but it smells a lot like smell good bathroom essences. So sometimes I can smell if they've been in the kitchen, or I don't know. They've got a very specific look, like a grease-covered look if they've been in the kitchen. And then sometimes you can smell the hair products on people's HomePods if they use theirs in the bathroom. Alright, so this one indeed has no power. Got about 4 watts being pulled at the wall, so all signs pointing to a shorted diode on the amplifier. Let's crack this open and see if we're right. What is the weirdest condition HomePod I've received? Oh boy, let me tell you. It would actually be hold on. It would actually be that HomePod right there. So this bad boy was sent to me with a white mesh that was so dirty it was almost black. And the power cable, if you can see it going down and wrapping around my speaker stand there, the white power cable has gotten completely grossed. And the top was shattered into a million pieces. But it just had the no power issue, so I just replaced the diode and I put it back together. I left the mesh off of it so I'd have like a nice naked looking HomePod. And yeah, I'll try to find pictures of that. I did share pictures of this horrible condition HomePod when I found it on eBay and bought it in my Discord server. Customer didn't want it back. Oh, no. I bought this HomePod off eBay. 4 parts are not working. I wonder if I can actually find it here. Oh man, it was a absolute mess. Yes, that's my account. Please sign in. Stop asking. 2-step authentication, of course. Why is it that everything these days is like 10 times more secure and locked down and harder to get into than my own bank account? And I can't find that phone that it sent the 2-factor codes to. That's where did that go? Let's see. Yes, trust this browser, and please stop asking. eBay purchase history. Oh boy, this one was a while ago. Give me just a second. I am looking for it. It was an absolute pile. Oh, yeah, I found it. And of course, eBay is unable to pull up the page. View order details. Can I look at the order details? I only bought this back in January. Nope. eBay is not capable of keeping details on items you've purchased for more than a few months. So, unfortunately, there are no longer any photos of that HomePod. Oh well. I should have photos of it in the condition that I got it in my Discord server somewhere. If anybody's super desperate. Yeah, no, I paid like $80 for it, I think. And it just needed the no power repair. And I mean, aside from all of its cosmetic problems, for a fully functional HomePod, it was a pretty good deal. Oh, that came off real easy. Nice. Where's my phone? I wonder if I can find photos of that in my server. He was back in January. Oh boy. And of course there's no quick way of going back. Oh. Yeah, here we go. So there was the power cable that they graciously provided a picture of. It's like all frayed to hell and back. And this is what they did to the top. This is what they did to the top touch surface. The logic board, if I remember correctly, was working fine. I think it just had no power. And unfortunately, that's all of the photos from it. Yeah. But I still use that HomePod as to this day. It's got it just doesn't have any mesh or top plastic on it. Works totally fine. There was the one that I got that looked pristine on the outside, but as soon as I opened it on the inside, it looked like somebody had sprayed a whole bunch of corrosive, not corrosive, corroding fluid. The whole insides were completely caked in like this green, corroded like gunk from a capacitor on the power supply that had exploded and leaked all over everything inside. Luckily, the subwoofer and the logic board were still in good condition, but the power supply and the amplifier board were completely gone. They were gross. But surprisingly, I haven't taken in anybody's HomePods for repair yet and had any bugs crawling out of any of them or any seriously gross ones. Sometimes you get ones that look kind of like this. The white has, kind of turned a little yellow, but nothing like too serious. Too easy. Yeah, once you get that basket pried off, it's all pretty much downhill from there. Let's peek the condition of this woofer here. Looks good, feels good, smells good. Okay, what have we got going on? We know what to expect by now. And if we don't, you haven't been watching long enough. 1746K on that diode. Almost certainly the source of our no power issues. Let's get that pulled off and replaced. Too easy. Let's get a fresh diode out here. Too easy. Let's get this thing tested and off my table. let's test if this thing can power on now. And while we're at it, let's check if it's got any DC offset problems. Get that fixed up while we're in here. And yeah, we got power. Of course we got power. And now that that's booted up, let's wake up the amplifier. And we've got some pretty significant DC offset there. 82 millivolts and steadily climbing. And I bet you if we disconnect and reconnect the woofer from here carefully, with it all powered on, we'll hear the woofer popping. Wow. We might need to do some DC offset repairs on this guy here. Let's just double check and make sure that the caps on the back of the board here aren't too hot. And no, they're about normal temperature, so that is some raw DC bias there that the amplifier's spitting out. So let's take this power supply back off. And sort that out. All right, that's a pretty stable spot for me. So let's get those old capacitors pulled off, put some new ones on, and see if that that popping and offset's significantly reduced. Interesting thing to note here, look at how uneven their caps are. Like, this is from the factory, and they're not even straight. Disappointed, Apple. Use some low quality, or low standards here. And these joints just feel awful, they feel cold. Alright, not bad. Now let's grab some fresh caps. And get those thrown on. Put some flux on the first set of pads before we get started. Baba booey. Let's clean this up and test it one last time, hopefully. And this will be ready for reassembly. Make sure they get a good chance to cool down here. We don't want that heat throwing off our offset tests here. Still a little hot, but should be good enough for us to see any improvement here. All right. And what are the results? Any improvement? Very significant improvement. We were at 80 millivolts and steadily growing, and now we're under. Well, now Siri's not happy, but we had a good reading of about 9 millivolts of DC offset there. So this one's all ready to go. There we go. 8 millivolts, 9 millivolts, perfectly acceptable. Far better than that 80 millivolts that we saw before, so. And no significant popping when we unplug it from power either. Good to go. Right on. Get this fully reassembled and we'll be done for the day. final piece. All right. Plugging it into power. And drum roll, please. Booyah. We'll wait for that to boot up and we'll just give it some sanity checks here. Does it have sound?
I'm having trouble connecting to the
Yes,
internet.
it does. Do the volume buttons light up nice and even?
I'm having...
Yes, they do. We've got this HomePod completely fixed up. We've got everything that's sent in today fixed up. So I want to thank you all for joining this live stream repair. If you have any questions, drop them down in the comments or shoot me an email. And check out my website, nixfix.com, where you can find pretty much everything you'll need to know to get started on fixing your own HomePod or mailing it in to me to get it repaired live on stream here. So, hope you all enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye!